Hi guys, Matt Skeffington. We're at Dynamic Strength and Conditioning in Nashville, New Hampshire for another installment of Technique Tuesday. Today we're going to cover one of the most popular exercises in the fitness world, and that is the burpee. We love burpees for a variety of reasons. They're great for challenging endurance. They're great for challenging overall fitness. So if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to burn fat, burn some calories, burpees is a go-to. It's really accessible. You can do it in the gym, you can do it at home, you can do it outside. It also is a good challenger for both core and shoulder stability. The issue with the burpee is people progress too quickly. So they go to more advanced versions of the burpee rather than starting out with a good progression, which we're going to cover shortly. So now we're joined by DSC Performance Coach Curtis West to cover the 3 progressions of the burpee. If we have somebody who's new, maybe they lack technique, maybe they lack the core and shoulder strength to do a proper burpee, we'll start them from an elevated surface. So if you think the higher the surface, the easier it's going to be. So our goal with all our members is to move them as close to the floor as possible. That's really going to challenge their heart rate. That's really going to challenge their strength. So we'll start from an elevated position. We're going to break this down by steps. So the first thing Curtis is going to do is he's going to put his hands down on the bench. He's going to get all the weight in his hands. And what I want you to notice is his hand position directly underneath his shoulders. From there, he's going to kick out. When he kicks out, his head does not move. He again keeps his hands right under his shoulders, all the weight in his hands. He's going to kick in, and then from there, he goes into a jump. So he touches the bench, all the weight goes in his hands, kicks out, kicks in, and then jumps. So now that Curtis has mastered the elevated burpee, now we're going to go to the floor. We're going to do our floor burpee as well as the burpee with a push-up, which would be our final progression. So Curtis is going to get set up. Again, he's going to touch the ground, bend his knees if he needs, and there he kicks out. Good plank position, big reach to his upper back. He kicks in, and then he jumps up. So again, hands down, all the weight stays in his hands, kicks out, kicks in, and then jumps up. From there, we can add a push-up in. And this is where things can get a little bit dicey. So Curtis is going to get set up. He's going to touch the ground. He's going to go into his push-up. Out of his push-up, kicks in, and then jumps out. If you haven't seen our Technique Tuesday on the push-up, I advise you to watch that and then come back to the push-up burpee. So finally, we're going to cover common mistakes we see with the burpee. And I would say number 1 would be people progressing to the floor too quickly. So rather than starting on an elevation, starting on a bench or a box, and then slowly working your way towards the floor over time, they go right to the floor. Number 2 would be hand position when they kick back. Oftentimes we see people who kick too far back. Now shoulders end up behind the hands instead of shoulders right over the hands. Now I'm in a good, strong, stable position for my shoulders and my core. Next one would be hip sag. So when they kick out, they go into this big, extended position. Now I'm using my spine for stability. Instead of using a good plank position, now I'm using my abs for stability. Finally would be the push-up. Rather than a nice push-up, people crash to the floor like that, and you can see in this position, elbows are diving behind the body and putting excessive stress on the front of my shoulder, and then you're going to put a lot of stress on your sternum and your rib cage by slamming down. With all of our exercises here at Dynamic, we stress quality over quantity. So when you're starting out with burpees, start at the lower end, somewhere between 10 to 20 seconds of as many perfect burpees as you can, whether you're from the bench or from the floor. And over time, try to get more burpees in that time, and then try to shorten your rest. Thank you. We'll see you next week.